Hi guys, it's Chris with City Girl Homestead and another day of preserving. So when I made that hamburger helper with sausage the other day for Jack, I got to thinking about it. I got a lot of that. And I thought, you know, that takes up a lot of room in the freezer. So what if we canned it up? And I was talking to Renee and she said, yeah, add either water or broth to it. So this shouldn't be a very long video, but I'm going to can the sausage up. And then whatever I got left should be just a small amount so that, you know, it's more manageable in the freezer. I'm going to start doing that, going through my freezer and see things that I can can up, make recipes with, whatever, so that I can get the freezers cleaned out. Because, you know, if I go to the Amish stores, then I can usually get a pretty good deal on some meat that I have room for everything. My canner will fit 10 pints, so we'll see how many I can get out of that. And if I can't fill all 10, then I'll just can some more beans. So in the meantime, I'm getting my beans filled up. I thought about doing these in half pints, but what about if I want it to be for a casserole? I don't think a half pint would quite be enough. And if we want to add it for something for breakfast, then I think a pint would be more filling for 2 or 3 of us to eat. So it depends on how big your family is, you know, as to how you want to do it, if you want to do half pint or pint. But I think this is going to put them on the shelf, make them shelf stable. And, you know, why not? I think anytime we can put something on the shelf and we don't trust, you know, that the electricity is always going to work, because you never know. You know, like that, when we had that storm a few years ago here, we were without power for 3 days. So, I mean, you can save it for a couple days because you just keep the freezer closed. And if you keep the freezer closed, then you'll be alright. But then we gotta, we end up getting a, whatever you call that thing, and so it made it so that we didn't lose any meat, which we're very lucky that we didn't. But back then, I didn't have a big freezer. I had basically the freezer that was in my kitchen, and that was it. Well, look at that. I used the whole thing, and I have 3 jars left. So I will fill those jars up with beans. And we want to fill these up to the inch head space. Because in a way, like Renee said, it does make it kind of a broth on it, too, as well. I'll have to get some more water here. But what we want to do is to bubble that. Get all that air out of there. And get our meat underneath the water. Oops, that's the one I didn't have enough to fill. Alright, and then we're going to clean those rims really, really well. I'm sure I didn't get much on them, but you know what? Never take that chance. I found one with a couple pieces in there. Alright, let me get some more water and get the beans, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I got them all debubbled, because I wanted to clean up my debubbler. I already washed those ones, but we'll do it again. Rather be safe than sorry. Alright, so we end up getting 7 pints altogether of the sausage. So that's 7 meals, and it's out of the freezer. And if we lost our power or something, because we do live in Michigan, we get ice storms here, snowstorms, all those things that can cause us to lose power. Like right now, I don't know if you can hear it in the background, but they're grinding up trees so that we don't have them on the power lines because it's getting to that time of year. So they go through and they get everything trimmed up so that hopefully we don't run into that problem. Because that's not a good problem to have. So we're going to get all those put in there. And then I'm going to take the last 3 jars. And I'm decided every time I do this, if I have, you know, enough jars left, I'm just going to do beans. And that way I don't have to concentrate on just doing beans. So we're going to do a 1/2 cup, and these are those small beans again. I could probably do a full 1/2 cup and not a scant because they don't expand very big. But you know what? It keeps adding, and I'm glad I listened to one of you about that, because you know something? I go just below the 1 inch. Because I do not pre-soak my beans. I know that's weird how I transfer my water, right? But that way you're not jumping up every 5 minutes to replace your water. Now, even though it's just beans and water, still always, always, always the bubble, because you want to get the air in between those beans. And then still always wash off your rims. Because you want your canning and your hard work to be for purpose, not for waste. Because I don't think you can actually, I mean, I guess you could, but it'd probably be really gross. You could reprocess your beans, but I would think they'd be mush if you had to do that. So I don't think I'd want to do that. So we're going to put those last 2 in there. I love to know now that my canner, I always thought it was 9, but it actually will take 10. Which is awesome. And we got my girl there. She's a 1974. We're going to fire up. Everything was cold, cold, and cold. And we're going to wait for that to steam and let it steam for 10 minutes. Then we're going to time it for the same thing as meat, 75 minutes. So we're getting 2 things accomplished. And I am going to continue to go through my freezer and get rid of some of the bigger pieces of stuff or things that I can make into meals or whatever, and we're going to get my freezers manageable. Alright, I'll see you in a little bit. Alright, so there we go. 3 pints of beans for the shelf and 7 pints of sausage. Everything is set. Got more room in my freezer. Stack it to the rafters, you guys. You guys have a blessed day. Be a blessing.